Hello. Welcome to our third day of the challenge. Over the past 2 days, you've learned about how your mind works and how habits are formed and transformed. If you feel the need, go back to the previous videos. Each part of this journey is important and can bring new insights. Today, we're taking another step forward. We're going to talk about the 3 fundamental elements of change and the 6 stages that make up this process. Let's begin with the 3 essential elements for any change to happen. First element, readiness to change. This involves being willing and prepared to transform your life. Do you have the resources? Have you sought the necessary knowledge? Are you mentally ready for this journey? This is the starting point. Without readiness, any effort becomes much harder. Second element, barriers to change. What is holding you back from changing? What behaviors or feelings are making this transformation difficult? Identifying these barriers is essential. Sometimes it's fear, old beliefs, or even day-to-day situations pulling you back. But once you recognize these obstacles, you're already taking the first step to overcoming them. Third element, being prepared for relapses. Yes, they may happen, and that's okay. What matters most is knowing that relapses are part of the process and that you can learn from them. What caused the relapse? What trigger was present? Having a plan to deal with this makes a big difference in your journey. Now let's move on to the 6 stages of change. These stages show where you are on your journey, and that helps a lot in making conscious decisions. Stage 1. Pre-contemplation. At this stage, the person doesn't yet recognize that there's a problem. They may be denying the negative effects of a habit or minimizing the harm. Phrases like smoking every now and then doesn't hurt me are common. The goal here is to awaken awareness. This is done through information, examples, and real stories. By understanding the impacts of the current habit, you begin to realize that something needs to change. Stage 2. Contemplation. Now, you recognize that the behavior is harmful. You start seriously thinking about change, but you haven't yet decided how or when. This is a stage of reflection. You weigh the pros and cons. Think about the damage this habit brings to your health, relationships, and personal growth. Here, the key is motivation. You need to clearly see what you gain by changing and how that can transform your life. Stage 3. Preparation. True change doesn't happen overnight. It requires planning, awareness, and most of all, intention. In this stage, preparation, you begin to organize yourself to take action. The focus here is to understand which small steps you can take today to move closer to the change you want. This includes setting realistic goals, thinking of concrete actions, and anticipating potential challenges that may arise. Will you face internal resistance? Negative external influences? Lack of motivation? All of that is possible, but when you anticipate it, you can create strategies to better handle those situations. A good plan might include breaking change into smaller stages, seeking support from loved ones or a professional, and using tools to make the process easier. Remember, when you prepare, you empower yourself. Stage 4. Action. Now it's time to put into practice what you've planned. In the action stage, change truly begins to happen. You begin to practice the new behavior, and that takes courage, persistence, and kindness toward yourself. It's very important to celebrate your wins, even the small ones. Also, recognize that perfection is not the goal. If something doesn't go as planned, it's okay. Learning from setbacks is part of the process. Remember the phrase, done is better than perfect. Set clear goals, track your progress, and create milestones to stay motivated. Reflect. What is working? What needs adjusting? And if a relapse happens, take a deep breath, look at how far you've come, and refocus with compassion and patience. Stage 5. Maintenance. This is one of the greatest challenges of the entire process, maintaining what you've started. After the initial excitement wears off, it's necessary to find new sources of motivation to stay consistent. Here, it's essential to create mechanisms that reinforce the new habit. Set small rewards. Seek support from people who uplift you. Always remember the benefits you've already gained through this change. Think about it. What has improved since you started this journey? Your health? Your mood? Your relationships? Value that. And more. Recognize how much you've already grown. That builds pride, confidence, and increases your motivation to continue. Stage 6. Termination. This is the final stage, and yes, it is possible. It's when the new behavior becomes natural and automatic. You no longer need to make a conscious effort to maintain the change, because it has become part of who you are. It's when the new habit is fully integrated into your routine and you no longer feel the desire or need to return to the old behavior. This is an incredible milestone, but it doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of everything you've been building so far with courage, presence, and commitment. Now that you know the 6 stages of change, let's talk about 2 very important points: relapses and your task of the day. Reaching the termination stage is a major achievement, but that doesn't mean relapses will never happen again. Even when a new habit is well established, there may be moments of temptation or challenging situations that shake you emotionally. The good news is, when you reach this stage, you've already developed internal resources to better deal with these challenges. You're able to recognize the triggers, apply strategies, and stay on track. But it's important to remember, maintaining the new habit requires ongoing attention. Real and lasting changes are supported by consistency, self-care, and flexibility to adjust as needed. Change is not a straight line. It's common for the journey to have ups and downs. Sometimes you move forward, other times you take a step back. This is normal. If a relapse happens, ask yourself with kindness, what happened that led me back to the old habit? Reflect on the moment, identify the triggers, and above all, don't blame yourself. Each relapse brings a learning opportunity and strengthens your commitment to change. Adopt a compassionate posture. You're in a process of transformation, and every step, even the hard ones, are part of it. Task of the day. Now it's time to put this knowledge into practice. Your task is to identify which stage of change you are in today, and based on that, reflect on the most suitable actions to move forward. If you're in pre-contemplation, begin by recognizing that there's a habit that may need to be transformed. Seek information and reflect on the impacts this behavior is having in your life. If you're in contemplation, evaluate the pros and cons of your current behavior. How does it affect your health, relationships, and well-being? This clarity helps spark motivation. If you're in preparation, make a plan. Continue practicing the meditations and the content available to you. Set goals and anticipate possible obstacles. If you're in action, stay strong. Value every achievement and keep your focus on the new lifestyle you're building. And if you're already in maintenance, stay mindful and committed. Remember everything you've overcome. You have more than enough reasons to be proud of your journey. That's it for today. Tomorrow we'll talk about a powerful topic, limiting beliefs, and how they directly influence our habits and behaviors.